Lily sat on her bed, the afternoon sun streaming through her window, casting shadows on the walls. It was supposed to be a quiet day, but as she read, a noise interrupted her focus. Soft, deliberate thuds echoed from the attic above, rhythmic yet disjointed. She hesitated, straining to listen. Her heart raced. Her parents were out, and she was home alone. Surely it was just the house settling, she thought. Yet the sound persisted, creeping closer to the center of the room. Fighting her growing unease, she climbed the narrow staircase to the attic, each step creaking ominously beneath her weight. The doorknob was cold and rusty as she turned it, the door creaking wide. Dust motes danced in the slanting light, revealing old boxes and cobwebs. The thuds stopped. Silence engulfed her. As she turned to leave, she heard a faint whisper, like a breath against her neck. Panic surged as she spun around. No one was there. The noise began again, louder and more frenzied. In a new frenzy of terror, she stumbled back and tripped. As she hit the ground, she realized the truth. The sounds were not echoes of footsteps, but something else entirely, something alive and hungry. Her last thought before darkness enveloped her was a chilling realization. She wasn't alone in the house after all. To find herself still in the attic, the dim light casting long shadows across the room. Her head throbbed where she had hit it, and she felt disoriented. The air was thick with dust, and she struggled to catch her breath. The attic was silent again, as if the house itself was holding its breath, waiting. She slowly sat up, her eyes scanning the room for any sign of movement. Nothing. The attic was just as cluttered and untouched as it had always been. A chill ran down her spine as she recalled the whisper and the frantic noise. She knew she couldn't just ignore what she had experienced. Gathering her courage, Lily decided to investigate further. She got to her feet, moving cautiously among the stacks of old boxes and forgotten relics. Her fingers brushed against an old, dusty trunk she'd never noticed before, its lid slightly ajar. With trembling hands, she lifted the lid, revealing an assortment of odd trinkets and photographs. Among them was an old journal, its leather cover worn and cracked with age. Curious, she picked it up and began to flip through its pages. The writing was faded but legible, and as she read, a story began to unfold. One of a family who had lived in the house long before hers, of secrets and sorrow, and a tragedy that had left its mark. The journal spoke of a presence in the attic, something that the family had tried to contain but ultimately failed. Lily's heart pounded as she read the final entry, which warned of the dangers of disturbing the silence and awakening what lay dormant. Determined to understand, Lily continued to explore the attic, her eyes scanning for anything that might provide more clues. In a dusty corner, she found a small wooden box with intricate carvings. It felt warm to the touch, as if it held a life of its own. Inside was a locket, its metal surface cold against her skin. As she held it, she felt a strange sense of calm, a connection to the past. The noise started again, a low rumble that seemed to come from the very walls of the house. But this time, Lily was ready. She clutched the locket tightly, feeling its warmth spread through her fingers, and faced the darkness. Whatever was in the attic with her, she was determined to uncover the truth and put the restless spirit to rest. With newfound resolve, Lily spoke into the shadows, her voice steady despite the fear that threatened to overwhelm her. "I know you're here," she said. "I know your story. Show yourself and let us end this." For a moment, the attic was still. Then, slowly, the shadows began to coalesce, forming the faint outline of a figure. It hovered in the air, its presence both eerie and sorrowful. Lily felt a wave of compassion wash over her, as she realized that this spirit was not malevolent but lost, seeking closure. Guided by an instinct she couldn't explain, Lily placed the locket on the floor and stepped back. The spirit moved toward it, drawn to its familiar energy. Touched the locket, a soft glow filled the room, and Lily felt the tension ease. The spirit seemed to shimmer for a moment before dissipating into the light, leaving behind a sense of peace. Lily stood in the now silent attic, the weight of the past lifted. She knew that the house held many stories, but this one had found its resolution. As she made her way back downstairs, she felt a renewed sense of belonging in her home, grateful for the chance to help a lost soul find its way. Please like, comment, and follow for more stories like this.